Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I suspect that there have been a lot of people in recent years who've been asking when will they get their new Supercans? And there are lots of people who, I guess, in previous years have been told they would have to pay a certain amount of money, right, Bill? And we hopefully will be past that as well. We probably suspected there have been people who have communicated with us through Grade.DC.gov that they've outgrown their 32-gallon recycling bin, can, I should say, and need more capacity. So I'm happy to announce today, and I'm glad to be joined by Councilmembers Mary Cheh, Councilmember Kenyan McDuffie, and Councilmember Mary Cheh, also with our City Administrator, by our City Administrator, Alan Liu, by Bill Howland, who is our DPW Director, and Brendan Shane, who does many things, including oversee our sustainable DC plan in the Department of the Environment. So with everyone here, I'm happy to announce that the wait is over. Starting in January, the Department of Public Works will begin delivering Supercans to the 75,000 households that receive once-a-week trash and recycling collection services from the Department of Public Works. Between January and July, over that roughly 5 to 6 month period, all households that receive DPW trash and recycling collection services will receive a new Supercan trash can and also a new recycling can. These containers for trash and recycling are made of 40% recycled material. And after DPW completes distributing the new trash and recycling cans, DPW will recycle the older bins, which means that they, in a different form, will come back for further use. It's an $11.1 million contract. It's on its way to the council, guys. You will be getting it very soon. And we're hoping that you will move expeditiously to approve it. The vendor will begin manufacturing new Supercans, the new 32-gallon trash cans, and new larger recycling cans as well at that point, once the contract has been approved. This is an investment which we think is a strong statement by the District of Columbia government that we are committed to recycling as well as to sustainability. It is an investment in a cleaner, more sustainable DC that delivers on our sustainable DC plan, especially with regard to waste actions, and it is faster than we thought it was going to be. As you know, the sustainability plan is a 20-year plan, and we're not going to wait 20 years to make sure people have new Supercans. This is barely into our first year, right? I guess we haven't even finished our first year. By increasing capacity for residents to recycle, we think we're taking a significant step toward achieving our sustainable DC target of diverting 80% of our waste stream through recycling, composting, and through waste conversion. Delivering these containers to residents is critical to curbing the rat population and stopping other animals such as raccoons from getting into the trash. And actually, we've seen more of that in the recent past. I've actually seen it in my neighborhood over in the southeast. The Supercans especially need to be replaced because more than 10 years have passed since many, if not all, of the Supercans actually have been replaced here in the District of Columbia. The Supercan and 64-gallon recycling can distribution will continue through March, which means that will be done as the first wave of efforts. DPW then will deliver the 32-gallon trash cans and 48-gallon recycling cans to residents in neighborhoods where there's twice-a-week trash collection. So the once-a-week folks first, the twice-a-week folks afterwards, I think for fairly obvious reasons. We also ask people to paint their address on each can, hopefully for obvious reasons also, so that your can doesn't wind up down the street, down the alley, around the corner in someone else's spot. I've actually seen places where people had 3 cans outside the house. No idea how it happened. We won't speculate about that where we are. But I've actually seen it, which means there must have been 2 folks that didn't have a can at that point. So do something to put your address on there so that this will substantially reduce the likelihood of theft. The new 64-gallon can will actually double the recycling capacity for us, and the new 48-gallon recycling bin for those who get collections twice a week will increase capacity by 50%. The recycling cans will be, what do we call it, hot stamped? Hot stamped, which basically tells you what you can put in those, what's recyclable and what is not. The new cans not only increase capacity, but will show you right on the can what we can actually recycle and what is acceptable. And we hope people will follow that direction. In 2005, which is now obviously about 8 years ago, it was the first time, we were one of the first jurisdictions in America to introduce single stream recycling, which eliminated the need to separate paper, to separate glass, and separate metal. Now people can put it all together. And moving to that actually increased the recycling rate. And you may want to talk about what the increase was, Bill, when you come up here. And now we expect another jump in recycling using the larger cans. I do want to thank Bill Howland for his work. Just to show you how we get down to this, we had a session in my office, about a week and a half ago, where we had the cans down there so we could look at them to make sure exactly what cans we wanted to move forward with. And so I want to thank Bill for the work that he does, not on this front, only on this front, but on the snow front as well. And looks like we may have some increased need because I watched the weather forecast last. But we're ready. We're ready. We've got new equipment. $4.5 million of new equipment. Hopefully we won't need it, but if we do need it, we are ready, ladies and gentlemen. Aren't we? Aren't we, DPW? Yes, we are. Yeah. And so before I bring up the council members, I want to ask Director Howland and I want to ask Brendan to come up and say a few words about how the program will work, and then we'll bring up council members McDuffie and Cheh. Bill?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the mayor mentioned, that we're changing out the cans, and this is a way of doing proper sanitation, keeping the area clean. Primarily in the twice-a-week area, we've had a lot of rat area infestation where the rats are actually gnawing through the cans, and so we see that as a need to replace the cans, even though their cans are a little bit newer. In the once-a-week area, the cans are well over 12 years old and of beyond their useful life, and so we feel now is the right time to replace them. As the mayor mentioned, we're going to do the Supercans first, and we're going to do it in reverse order. We're going to start with the Friday area first, which is in Wards 7 and 8, and then after that'll take us a couple of weeks to do that, and then we'll do Thursday, which is in Ward 3. Then we're going to go to Wednesday, which is in Wards 4 and 5, and then we're going to do Tuesday, which is in Wards 7 and 5, and then we'll finish up with Monday, which is Wards 3 and 4. So it's reverse order. After we do the Supercans, we're going to do the same order for the recycling containers in the Supercan area. Then we'll do the twice-a-week area trash can in reverse order, and then we'll do their recycling cans last. Now, for those people who are asking where the twice-a-week area, it's generally any cross street with an alphabet. It's the old inner city of Washington, D.C. is a twice-a-week area. As the mayor mentioned, we expect to complete this by July, and then we'll go back and start removing all the old containers. Now, if you want to keep your old container, you can, but we are going to collect the other containers if you want to get rid of them, and all of those cans will be recycled. The other thing is, all of these new cans are 40% recycled material, so I guess they were old cans at one time that are now new cans. If you still need to buy a can and you cannot wait, you can still purchase it. We would ask you to wait so that you can get it for free. Right. And then the last thing is the mayor mentioned about the snow for tonight, and we are going to deploy in the morning. It'll be actually our first deployment of the year. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Director Howland. On behalf of Keith Anderson, our DDOE Director, I just had three quick things to add. First, for the Department of the Environment and all the agencies in the Green Cabinet that are working to implement the Mayor's Sustainable DC Plan, we want to say thank you to DPW and the whole team that Director Howland has working on this to move ahead on specific actions under the plan. We're not even, as the Mayor said, we're not even a year in, and we're starting to check the boxes and check them well ahead of schedule. This was something that was really budgeted and planned for a couple of years out, so it's rolling out incredibly quickly. Second, as a resident, or as residents, Keith and I both just want to say thank you personally because we have full recycle bins out there every week, and our neighbors do, and residents all across the city do. So bigger bins are great. So we're really excited about that. And finally, looking sort of from the big picture perspective of the Mayor's Sustainable DC Plan, you really can't underestimate the importance of today's announcement. People across the city are taking all sorts of actions for community gardens, healthier lifestyles, biking, tree canopy. People are working on all sorts of sustainable initiatives, and many of which they're passionate about. But if you look for one thing that every one of them does every single day, multiple times a day, at school, at work, at home, it's the decision about recycling. They decide in the morning, they decide in the evening. And so this is an issue that touches every resident. It touches, in particular, youngest residents, kids and children that really get excited about recycling. So this, really major investment of $11 million and then moving a program out so much more quickly than planned will really make a difference. And as we move to the goal under the Sustainable DC Plan, which is zero waste, we'll be reducing, reusing, and very importantly, recycling. So DPW is really taking a big step forward today. Thanks very much.
Good. Are we still in the morning or this afternoon?
We're in morning.
Okay. My days are like all running together now. Good morning, everyone.
You got another half hour for them.
Okay. All right. I knew we were running close to it. I want to thank Mayor Gray and his administration for the invitation to be here today. In the last 18 months that I've been on the council, I've had an opportunity to work extensively with Mayor Gray and a number of his agency directors and have been extremely impressed with their work, and his work in particular, in being responsive to the needs and concerns of the residents of the District of Columbia. And so I want to start my remarks by giving him a round of applause for all his work and his efforts. I also want to thank my colleague who is standing to my left and to your right, Councilmember Ward 3, Mary Cheh, because it was about a year ago that I introduced the Supercans for Seniors Act, which fell in her committee. And as some of you are probably aware, we introduced a lot of bills on the council, and sometimes they get bottled up in that committee process. But this bill did not. As a matter of fact, Councilmember Cheh and her staff acted fairly quickly to hold a hearing on the bill, and I was pleased to be able to work with her on that. We had the rocket docket. There we go. She put this on the rocket docket. We had Director Howland who came and testified, and we learned a lot of great information as a result of that hearing. And you've heard it mentioned today, but most of the Supercans in the district are between 10 and 12 years old. And a lot of them are in a state of disrepair. Now, I'm not going to point the finger at anybody, because what a lot of folks don't know, and Director Howland has told a lot of folks, is that DC currently has a program where you can get your Supercans repaired depending on what the damage is. And perhaps a lot of folks don't take enough time to actually pursue the repairs in that manner. But there are a lot of folks whose trash cans have been damaged beyond repair, and in other instances, they just simply come to the end of their useful life. And up until now, the cost of the Supercan, as the mayor said, has been $62. I believe it's $62.50. And that 50 cents makes a difference, particularly.
So does the 62?
It does. But it makes a difference, particularly for those who are on fixed incomes, our senior citizens, our veterans, those folks who are disabled here in the city. And it's because of those nickel and dime fees where we've placed folks in real hardship in the District of Columbia. And I introduced the Supercans for Seniors Act because of a meeting that I went to a little over a year ago in Trinidad. I was at a Trinidad Civic Association meeting, and there are a host of issues that were going on, but the one that got a lot of traction and a lot of folks were talking about sort of surprised me, and it was the Supercans. They had Supercans that were being stolen. There were Supercans that were in disrepair. And I remember that meeting because about a week later, I went to a meeting in Brentwood, and I went to another meeting in North Michigan Park, and they were saying the same thing about the Supercans. And I said, we have to do something about this. I mean, a lot of folks who are probably sitting at home watching this are probably wondering why we're having a press conference on something like this, but I think they've talked about how important this is. This is about public health. This is about sanitation. This is about recycling in the environment. And it's really critical that we make sure that we align our resources of the city with these very important issues and that these priority issues don't get lost in the midst of trying to make sure that we fund other priorities. And so I want to thank all the folks who are standing here, City Administrator Liu, Director Howland, the folks from the Department of the Environment, including Keith Anderson. I want to thank Councilmember Cheh from Ward 3 and all my colleagues on the council, but I want to thank those residents from Trinidad, those residents from Brentwood, those residents from North Michigan Park, who thought enough to bring that issue to my attention and to stay on my case to make sure that we were doing something about it. So I appreciate everybody being here today, and I'm so pleased that we're going to roll out this program a lot sooner than we probably would have done otherwise. So thank you all.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'd like to echo the remarks of Councilmember McDuffie. I want to thank the mayor. This is part of the sustainability program, and it's really extraordinary. In fact, it's amazing. And we're putting into action a whole variety of things sooner than we had planned, and that's going to be true not just of the Supercans, but among other things that we're going to see very soon in legislation that's been sent over to the council. I think that the program to replace the trash cans, I want to actually make sure we give Councilmember McDuffie his due, because he really started this ball rolling with his legislation for cans for seniors. And then, you know, my committee moved it forward, and then it actually developed even further. During the budget period, we had allocated money, but it was going to be to allow the district to roll this out over 5 years because of the expense. But happily, Mayor Gray has found the money so that we can do this now. And so I want to also echo the importance of what we're doing here. It may seem mundane, but this is something that touches everyone's lives. And I have heard it repeatedly in my ward and around the district that people want new Supercans. It is a health issue. It is an issue about aesthetics as well, and it's an environmental issue, a sanitation issue. The cans themselves, the recycle cans, they are actually a physical signal to people that we care about recycling, that is the direction that we're going in. In fact, people were telling me that they wanted larger cans. Their trash cans were having smaller and smaller amounts, and the recycle cans were having greater and greater amounts. So this is where people are heading, and in one sense we're following, but at the same time we're leading. And so this is just one manifestation of this sustainability program that the mayor has committed to, and that I think is fundamentally changing the District of Columbia. So I want to thank him. I want to thank all of the members of the executive branch. As I said, what may seem a mundane matter is extraordinarily important, and it's important both in its actuality for people's lives, but it's important to show the direction that we're going in and show by symbolism. Where's the large can? Where's it? Look at this can compared to that little itty-bitty can over there. Okay, now it's going to be this great big can for recycling. So I'm just delighted by this, and I'm happy to be here to celebrate with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much to both Council Members McDuffie and Cheh. And you're absolutely right. I actually, you know, I guess it could be viewed as mundane, but I actually don't. I think this is pretty important to people every day. And I hear it a lot. You know, we did include in the budget, as Councilmember Cheh indicated, $2 million for fiscal year 14. And that would have taken 5 years at best, probably 6 years, to be able to replace all these cans. And when the opportunity presented itself for us to be able to expedite this, we've now expedited it so that rather than 5 or 6 years, it will be done all in a matter of months. so that everybody will have the opportunity to have a new Supercan and a new recycle, a can that allows people to recycle as well. And frankly, it'll make the work easier, I think, for the people who do it at DPW. There are some pretty beat up cans out there as well, and oftentimes when a can gets beat up, guess who gets blamed for it being beat up? And that is the DPW workers who allegedly didn't properly put it on the truck, and then it gets damaged, so on and so forth. So, you know, over a matter of months, we will have brand new cans for everybody, and I think this will be a good thing. And frankly, you realize when people tell you about this, the kind of meetings that Councilmember McDuffie described, how important this is to people who live in the District of Columbia. So with that having been said, we're delighted to be able to do this. We are underway. The contract is going over to the council ASAP, and as soon as it's approved, we will move forward with getting this done. Any questions from any of the media?
This is a new set out for the Supercan area.
Yeah.
And that'll be the new set out for the twice a week
Yeah, everybody hear what Director Howland said? For the folks who have once a week, this is it. For obvious reasons, it's not quite as big. Those are not quite as big as the others that get twice a week. So those who get twice a week pickup will get that. And that's because people live in areas that are not easily accessed.
The yards are not as large.
Right. So twice a week, once a week. Any questions, Mike?
If I could ask, if Bill has some information, I just want to know how recycling volume has increased over the years. I mean, this is responding to more recycling?
Right. In 2005, when we had, before we went to the single stream recycling, we were at roughly 13%. We immediately went up to 20% recycling when we introduced the single stream recycling. We're roughly around 27%. And we hope to get another boost. Now, the law says we need to be at 45%, so that's what we're working towards, is 45% recycling rate.
That refers to the total tonnage of everything that's...
Tonnage, right. It's all in tons.
How much is this costing, Mr. Howland?
About $11 million. Yes, you did.
And I guess if you do the math, that works out to about, what, 62.50? Because I think yeah. And that 50 cents is important, Councilmember.
One more. Did I hear this correctly, that the new cans will be sent out, they'll be placed out in the neighborhoods, but the old cans aren't going to be picked up till that's all over with?
Yeah, you can talk about the logistics of that.
Yeah, we're still working out how we're gonna do a collection. We'll probably do that shortly after we distribute the new cans. Then we'll come back out and start collecting the old cans.
Neighbors are going to be probably wondering that their alleys are going to be cluttered with all these cans in that interim period. Why can't we just pick up the old cans when you deliver the new ones?
Well, we're going to give you an opportunity. We're still working out the details of exactly how we're going to do that. But in some instances, people will want to keep some of their old cans. In some instances, people will want to get rid of them. But we'll probably come back about 2 weeks after we start to distribute them to start collecting them.
I can't wait to hear that one, Mike. I've got too many Supercans, guys. I got too many recycle cans. Yes. Yeah, this one? Yes. Mm-hmm. Supercan by comparison to your typical trash can. I think the District of Columbia may have been the first jurisdiction, or one of the first. One of the first, yeah.
But technically, this is a Supercan, though. Those are just...
They're just cans? Oh, okay. All right, that's just a can. I mean, to me, it's a super can by comparison to what people typically have had as trash cans. I suspect there are many jurisdictions in America that use this approach now. I don't know what the status is of their, upgrading them and making sure they are contemporary. I have no idea. But we'll be the newest guys in the nation very shortly.
Are the new cans just going to kind of show up at people's homes? They're going to get any kind of notice ahead of time?
Yeah, we're actually starting on the Friday, but we're actually in January when we start, we're just going to, even though it's the Friday area, we'll start on a Monday and then we'll do Tuesday. We're just going to do the Friday area first. We're going to try to do as many as we can, and then once we get done, we'll just start on the Thursday. So you could get your can any day of the week. It won't necessarily be on your trash day. Show up in the front of your house. Yes.
We're absolutely sure that nobody will refuse the new can coming. That was really bad, wasn't it? That was really awful. Rescinded. All right, thank you all very much. Sam.
Talk about snow. So the city's ready for?
Always. Always. We not only have the hearing, but we have rehearsals also. I've gone out, when were we out there? About
November
3, 4
1st.
weeks? November 1st, we were out there to have a practice. And when I say rehearsal, I mean all the trucks and plows are deployed all over the city. All the workers are out there. They convene at the parking lot at RFK Stadium. There's discussions before that. They are deployed to the areas that they will be responsible for. So, yeah, I think folks are as ready as they possibly can be. And we do, seriously, we have a lot of new equipment, Sam, that we've acquired over the last couple of years that will make this easier than it otherwise might. There's a new GPS system that will allow people who are doing the plowing to even know ahead of them what's already been done, what remains to be done, so that people don't have to go down the street in order to figure out what the status of the snow removal is. Always, right, Bill? Yes. Yeah. And so it's a joint effort between DPW and DDOT. And we have a snow czar also, Bob Marsili, right? Yeah, who actually is responsible for the snow. He's had a pretty easy time the last couple of years, so he may find out, whether he's ready or not this year as well. Okay, thank you all very much.
Right here.
You're still not allowed to recycle.
We're gonna stamp exactly what you can recycle.